Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kelsey and I'm here to finish a series. Hello, it's editing me from the future. I just wanted to give a small disclaimer that while I tried my best to not include spoilers into this vlog, there are minor things that I do talk about in the video that could be considered spoilers. I don't think that they would really ruin the series for you. However, if you are sensitive to spoilers and don't want to know anything, I would suggest just skipping this vlog. But if you've read the series or you don't really care about spoilers, please have fun, enjoy the video. See you next time. So if you watched my January TBR, I did mention this. I hope that a video concerning like my goals of the year has come out since then. But if I decide to just scrap that video idea, part of my goals this year is to really finish series and hopefully to keep me motivated, to keep me wanting to finish these series, create content at the same time. I've decided to vlog this experience. I know it kind of sucks not to read an entire series at once. You don't know my feelings for Sleeping Giants in this vlog. However, I did read it for another vlog, which was reading like my friend Danny over a current chapter. So I will leave a link to that up above because I did get into some of my thoughts in the book. So I decided to give this a 3.5 stars because while I loved the story and there was a lot of like really fucked up things happening, I'm interested to see where the story is going. I think for a beginning novel, it did a great job at opening up the world and making us like super excited, which I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to this world expanding. So basically, to summarize what the Sleeping Giants Themis Files series is, it is a trilogy written by Sylvain Nouvel, and it essentially follows a young girl in the beginning who falls into the hand of a like robot, what they figure out soon is like an alien species, and they end up creating this entire giant robot about it, and the story kind of unfolds from there through interviews and this mysterious like overarching character that kind of is like leading the investigation. So I read Sleeping Giants over 2 years ago. One of my goals this year, like I said, is to finish series that I immediately purchase the next 2 books or 3 books or 4 books even in the series without even reading the first book. So here we are today. This is the point of this vlog. So we will be starting off with the second book in the Themis Files series, which is Waking Gods. I do believe it follows the same characters. I feel like I'm gonna have to like look up a summary of the Sleeping Giants book just so I can get a really good grasp on the details. But I think because it's like within interview formats, I'm hoping Sylvain Nouvel does a good job at like bringing in stuff from the previous book so we can kind of make those connections as we continue on in the series. I will be tangent reading this, or is tandem reading this. I will be tandem reading this, so reading it physically while listening to the audiobook. I do this because the format really bodes well for audiobook listening, and because it is mixed media, I want to read it physically as well. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be picking this up probably like when I'm done work. I could see myself doing this. I'm really looking forward to it. I really hope I like it. But yeah, welcome to the first clip of this vlog. Welcome to the journey together. Also, homework I have for you during this vlog. While you're watching this video, please let me know if you like this idea. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I'm not sure if people are interested in watching a vlog where the first book in the vlog isn't there, and I'm kind of going into this like blindly. So let me know. Keep that in mind while you're watching, and I will see you later. Hello. So I just got to page 36, and something that I immediately noticed with the book that I'm incredibly grateful for, even though I did read a summary, whatever, nice to know what's going on. The book takes place 10 years after the events of the last book. So I didn't really have to know much, which is good because one of my complaints of last time was that the book didn't feel like its own enclosure. But reading this book now makes me appreciate the Sleeping Giants a bit more because this book is taking 10 years after. There's a completely different problem that we're dealing with, a completely different issue, which is that another robot, much like Themis, has landed or really appeared on Earth seemingly out of nowhere in Regent Park in London. And the beginning of the novel is them debating what to do. And Rose, who was obviously the young girl who found Themis the first time, did research on Themis, discovered how she worked, blah, 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 is apprehensive to meet this new robot that I forgot what they're referring to it as. But right now we're in the middle of like hot political debate within the parliament in London to see what they should do to interact with this new robot that has seemingly appeared out of nowhere. I'm assuming landed or placed into Regent Park. Really, really interesting. I love political stuff in books. So I'm really enjoying this like political aspect of a sci-fi book. Hello, so I just wanted to give a quick update of Waking Gods. I got to the page 100 mark and a lot has happened. So basically I told you guys about the alien robot thing that landed in London. So what ended up happening is that it attacked London and eliminated a bunch of neighborhoods, and they had to kind of send themis faster. So Dr. Kara and Dr. Vincent were in themis while landing in Europe, ready to meet with the other alien robot. So the robot begins immediately attacking them. There's no like moment of perhaps recognition of another robot. They immediately go on the offense. I think mostly because Britain called in their army, and I think we might discover, I hope we discover from this point why it didn't attack for a week and then immediately got on the offense. But thankfully, Kara and Vincent were able to attack the other robot. They were able to defeat it. There was an autopsy done on the pilots that were in the ship, or not in the ship, but in the robot. And now with a chapter between our mysterious narrator, our mysterious gatherer of data, and Dr. Rose Franklin, we learn that the pilots that were in the ship, they were able to do an autopsy on them, and they discovered that they are fairly humanoid in nature, just for the fact that they are able to like retract and bend their knees the opposite way in order to work with these machines. And we learned that they changed the sugar compound in their RNA sequence. So what allows us to have DNA, theirs is a bit different, it's ANA. So what we're learning is that they have a more like solid or structurally sound DNA, and so they are similar to us in a way, or what makes them humanoid. And this is an interesting fact because obviously Rose is captivated by the idea that other life forms are created through various sequences of changing sugars in our biology. So that was really, really interesting. Something that I'm loving about this, and I think I like it more than perhaps the previous book, is that if you don't know this about me, I absolutely love mechanical robots, fighting aliens with mechanical robots, that sort of thing. So like think Neon Genesis Evangelion, Pacific Rim, Gundam Wing, that kind of thing. I just love like military alien robots. So that's really capturing my love in this book, mostly because we are seeing the discussion surrounding these robots more, and that's something that I'm appreciating, I think, a bit more in this book. So I'm definitely going to listen to a bit more tonight. I don't know if I'll update again, but I'm happy to say that I am enjoying this, and I'm happy to say I'm flying through, and pick up series that you like, guys. Pick up series that you like. I think this is going to be the thesis statement of the video. Okay, so you know how I was saying that this book was reminding me of Evangelion, Neon Genesis Evangelion? So there's a part of the plot that I don't want to get too into, just in fear of spoilers, but they meet this girl named Ava, and I didn't think much of it, like whatever, Eva's a very like popular name, like from the Bible, renaming after Eve, that kind of thing. Hello, that's also why the Evas in Evangelion were called Evas. The book is talking about how when she was born, her parents wanted to name their kid after Themis, because that's when Themis was discovered, and everybody was naming their kid Themis, so they wanted to be like hip and cool and be different. And so they named their kid Ava, and they're like, apparently it's the name of a giant robot from a Japanese anime that they really liked. And Vincent, who is the person from Quebec, is like, Ava is for Evangelion? That's so cool. And I'm like, wow, me. Hello, so it has been well into another day since me finishing this book, but I wanted to talk about it. I was really hungover today. I didn't do anything really, besides like clean my house. You might hear the towels in the dryer in the background. My apologies. Did I film what I did yesterday? No, because I was absolutely sloshed. But I did want to talk about finishing Waking Gods because I gave this 5 stars. This is why you continue series, ladies. I am freaking out. It was so good. I even wrote notes because like my review on Goodreads was basically like, Sylvain Novelle said middle book syndrome. Who? He doesn't know her. He doesn't know her. This was fantastic. For a middle book in the series, this was incredibly fantastic. A question that I want to ask myself, because I don't really want to spoil, like, I don't want the purpose of these vlogs to spoil the series. I kind of want to examine them as second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever I end up doing, books, and how they coincide with the rest of the series. So as I explained in the first part, I gave the first book in the series 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it, but I didn't like it as much as I think I had wanted to. So we have to examine whether there is a perceived expectation that I put on the first book, which made me like it less. Because I liked the first book well enough, 3.5 stars is still a great rating. I went into this hoping to like it, but like if it was going to be a 3 stars, it wasn't going to really surprise me. It did surprise me because there was absolutely no dull in the story I find here. The way it worked is that it had such an expansion on the characters that we already liked, that we already enjoyed. They really went to different places in here, but still remained the same. I just loved how they developed. And there was also a great addition to other characters that we end up liking who find themselves together at the end of the book. The complex relationship between the mysterious narrator of the book, who then passes on his like legacy to Rose, loved. Tara, Vincent, and Eva's story together, perfection. I really liked it. I like how it ended, despite the fact that it was kind of sad. I think it added a new depth to Vincent in a way that will now be demonstrated, I think, in Eva. And I just really like that. I really like where that relationship is going, that development. This book really expanded on the alien lore. Like, I don't even see how we're gonna go into the third book because so much stuff happened in this book. I really liked the thesis of like humans proving themselves and demonstrating how to survive by any means necessary. I think the ending going along that fact really opens up something new for the final book. I really liked that this book was so different from the first one while still continuing the story. By the ending of this book, we know that Only Human is going to be so different from this book. And that's what I appreciate about this trilogy, is that each individual book so far has stood on its own. There were no slumpy parts, constant revelations. But we see how the first book, second book, and third book, while different from each other, still correlate. And this is how you do it. I really, really, really enjoyed this one, guys. I'm excited to go into the third book. However, in my excitement, I went to go look at reviews of this book. Everybody loved it. Went to go look at those same reviewers, and it seems to be a mixed bag, the third book. Danny over at Current Chapter, who was my inspiration for reading this series, really, really liked it. But my friend Ness told me that they didn't really like the third book. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm very excited to start it. And then we'll discuss how it stands after I'm done. Hello, it's the new day. I just got back from the gym at lunchtime, which is why my hair is in braids and I have my earphones on. It was a pretty good workout. I'm really happy. It's my first time working out at the gym since the new year. I took last week off for no reason other than the fact that I was lazy as fuck and I was like, it's the holidays, I don't have to do anything. So that's why. I did want to talk about Only Human because I got 150 pages into it last night. One thing I will say is that I am fucking flying through these audiobooks. I'm pretty sure that I can get the rest of the Only Human audiobook done today. I don't think it's a stretch. I didn't want to listen to it at the gym because I wanted to give my thoughts of the first 150 pages before I dived more in. So once again, Sylvain Nouvel has done a time skip of 10 years. So the book starts basically where Eva, Rose, and Vincent have come back to Earth. And it's interesting because we're getting glimpses of their time on Ect, which is the name of the planet of the aliens that came to Earth. And I think that that was really interestingly done because we're seeing it in flashback, so we're not spending our time there, which is very similar and reminiscent to the previous books where they're kind of told in an interview format after the fact or during whatever's happening. So Vincent, Rose, and Eva are coming back to Earth wherein it's a lot of like turmoil has happened over the last 10 years and a lot of political landscape is eminent. It's not good. And they're having to kind of like deal with that while also trying to save themselves. And so they land in what was formerly the Ukraine, or one of the like Russian satellites that are now fallen under the Russian government again, due to the kind of political upheaval that happened from the last book. That's the most I'll get into in regards to spoilers, but they're kind of dealing with this political fallout while also trying to remedy the relationships and the downfall of those relationships that has happened since their time on Ect. At this point, would I say I'm enjoying it that much? I don't really know. I'm liking that we're seeing where the novel has come from, how it has moved, and how these relationships and how the story or the background of the Ect people is being developed. A lot of the book, well, not a lot, I would say like some of the book is spoken in Ect, in the language of the aliens. And while I think that is interesting, particularly because Vincent is a linguist and therefore he was the one, and Eva, because she grew up there, pick up this language the easiest. Sometimes when you're listening to it on audio at like 2.5 speed, it's like Ect, 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 and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is happening? So while I wanted to and had big dreams to understand the language, it's not boding well for me. So I'm enjoying it, but I definitely don't think it's capturing me as much as the second book, which is really disappointing. However, the fact that they are these flashbacks of the previous planet, which is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see them on this planet. I'm enjoying that aspect. So we'll see where it goes from here. I believe I could probably finish this tonight, but we'll see what happens. Hello, so I wanted to give an update because yesterday I managed to finish Only Human by Sylvain Neuvel. I'm really sad to say that I don't know how to feel about this book because I'm a little bit disappointed. Even though I gave it a good rating, I gave it a 3.5 stars, which is still a good rating. I'm disappointed because it wasn't as good as Waking Gods. And that's sad to me. The plot from this one, I do want to point out, was still really engaging. I was still really devoted to the story, and the flashbacks to them visiting the other planet was really interesting. And I also really enjoyed how political Sylvain Neuvel got in this book, explaining alien DNA and how that was affecting the humans that had more alien DNA than others on planet Earth, and how planet Earth changed within the 10 years that Vincent, Rose, and Eva were on planet Ect. But I think what really pulled me in, and why I think as a last book in the series this didn't particularly work for me, was because in both the first book and the second book, what I think worked the most was Sylvain Neuvel's cliffhangers and how he kept you absolutely needing to read the next book. With having just admittedly a solid ending, I was left a little dissatisfied with how this ended. I enjoyed that Rose was able to find a solution to both have the aliens chill on their own side and have the humans kind of work to recreate Earth in a more positive light. The solution kind of felt pointless to the series. It kind of felt useless. It was kind of like, why did we read this entire series? And when I'm reading a last book, even though I am not the author, I don't know how he wants to end it. I don't make decisions for him, but I just feel like although it wrapped up this series in a nice way, it I guess wasn't the ending that I really wanted. Also, I think what was another downfall for this as a finale is that, much like with the second book, Waking Gods, the novel again jumps forward 10 years. So we are skipping over that entire part that they are on the planet, even though we get those flashbacks here and there. We don't really see the character development or the development in the relationships between the characters. So I feel like the characters felt vastly different than they did between books 1 and 2. Books 1 and 2 had the same time skip, but for some reason it was more apparent in this one. I did not feel like I was reading from the same characters, and I just felt like their reactions and their behaviors were just different from what I had seen before in the previous 2 books. I still enjoyed reading this book, and I like that at the end Sylvain Neuvel in his author note wrote that he's very interested in returning to the series. So I definitely would pick up more from this series. I have 2 more of Sylvain Neuvel's books on my TBR anyways, so he's definitely not an author that I would put behind. And I definitely think, like I said, I gave this a 3.5 stars, so I don't think it's a terrible finale. I just think as a third book, there were a lot of inconsistencies between characters and the way that he concludes his stories that I think made this one feel more lackluster than the others. So now that we have read the last 2 books, and now that you guys have finished a series with me, what have I learned? I learned that finishing series, first of all, isn't scary. So I will definitely be taking on this project as the year goes on. I also learned that reading series back to back is a lot of fun. I think I get kind of scared to read things in one go, just because I, for some reason, am terrified of concluding things one after another. I don't know why that is. I can't explain it, but alas, it is what it is, and I realize that I do enjoy it, and especially in the idea that I'm finishing a series. I like that I feel completed. I like that I started off the year completing a series. I feel very proud of myself. And I also learned that middle books are not always the worst ones, and I should not be scared of them, and I should not finish a series because I'm scared of where the books are going. So all in all, I think this was a pretty successful experience for me. As for the vlog, I need to edit this to really see how it worked. I definitely still want to post it because I would like to have some feedback from you guys as to how you enjoyed it, if you like the format, kind of giving a mid-book check-in, but then discussing the book as it's placed in the series and how it fits overall. Let me know if you enjoyed this. If you did, I will continue to read and finish some finales. Otherwise, I would really like to know if you guys have read the Themis Files series, if you've read from Sylvain Neuvel before. Let me know what you think about him overall as an author. But that's it for me and the Themis Files. If you would like to follow me on any of my other social medias, I do leave a link down below to my Twitter, Goodreads, and Instagram if you would like to follow me there. And of course, because it is the end of the video, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. I tell you guys every time, it makes me feel really special and does wonders for my channel. And that's it. Oop, I almost made it fall. But anyways, I don't know how to end these things ever. I will see you next time. Okay, bye.